Hiya, welcome to this special political episode of the National Indigenous Times Daily News Bulletin, where we dive into the latest developments following the recent federal election. With significant shifts in the political landscape, we explore key outcomes, the future of Indigenous representation, and what's next for the re-elected Albanese government. From Marion Scrymgour's victory in Lingiari to Lidia Thorpe's call for action, we break down the stories that matter most for First Peoples and the broader community. Marion Scrymgour has been re-elected to the Northern Territory federal seat of Lingiari, securing a 6.1% swing to Labor. Scrymgour, who has strong ties to the Tiwi Islands through her mother and Central Australia through her father, was first elected as member for Lingiari in 2022. Her return to federal parliament follows a distinguished career as a Territory MP, including making history as the first Indigenous Deputy Chief Minister of the NT. With nearly 52% of votes counted on Saturday evening, Scrymgour was on track to achieve 57.7% of the two-party preferred vote. Gosling defeated country Liberal candidate Lisa Bayliss and independent contender Phil Scott in a closely contested race despite a 6.1% swing to the CLP. Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price has partly attributed the coalition's significant election loss to media mudslinging, criticising the coverage of her use of the phrase "Make Australia Great Again" and a photo of her wearing a MAGA hat. In an interview with the ABC, she defended herself, calling the photo a joke and lamented the media's portrayal of it as an attempt to smear her. She also emphasised that Donald Trump doesn't own the phrase, stressing her seriousness about issues affecting Aboriginal people in Lingiari, particularly the widening gap caused by ideological approaches. Senator Price also raised concerns about alleged misconduct at remote polling booths during the election and called for an investigative journalist to look into the situation, claiming the Australian Electoral Commission had been repeatedly alerted but failed to take action. She warned that the cost of living will continue to worsen in the future. While she criticised Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for slinging mud during the campaign, Senator Price admitted that the coalition could have presented their policies sooner. She acknowledged the party's mistakes, including the loss of Peter Dutton, but vowed to learn from the experience and refine their approach going forward. Wiradjuri man and Labor MP Dr Gordon Reid has successfully retained his seat for Robertson on the New South Wales Central Coast, securing a second term in Parliament. In the 2022 election, Dr Reid, a former emergency doctor in the region, won his first term with a narrow 2.2% margin, regaining the seat for Labor after it was lost to the Liberal Party in 2013. Dr Reid, one of only two Indigenous MPs recontesting their seats, joins Marion Scrymgour in securing a second term, with Scrymgour retaining the NT seat of Lingiari. Following his victory, re-elected Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reaffirmed his commitment to reconciliation and efforts to close the gap, emphasising that Australia will be stronger when it achieves equality for all. Jackie Lambie's political future is uncertain as the race for Tasmania's final Senate seat remains tight. Provisional results as of Monday morning show that the seat is likely to go to either Senator Lambie or One Nation. According to the Australian Electoral Commission, the Labor Party currently holds 2.44 quotas and the Liberals 1.54 quotas and the Greens 1.22. The Jackie Lambie network is in fourth place with 0.46 quotas, ahead of Pauline Hanson's One Nation at 0.38 quotas and the Legalised Cannabis Australia Party with 0.27 quotas. Senator Lambie expressed disappointment over the Liberals' decision to preference One Nation ahead of her, stating the final results is anyone's guess. She also voiced frustration at the financial disadvantage of competing against major parties, noting that her campaign had raised less money than usual due to tough times. Senator Lidia Thorpe has urged the re-elected Albanese government to move beyond excuses and start delivering real change for First Peoples and the broader community. Following the coalition's significant loss, the Gunai-Gurrindjimara Djab Wurrung senator emphasised that Labor now has both the power and responsibility to act on major issues affecting Indigenous communities, without the need to blame the opposition. Thorpe criticised Labor for using the coalition's support as an excuse for inaction over the past 3 years. She described the government's failure to pursue progressive reforms, including truth-telling, anti-discrimination laws and environmental action, as a cowardly approach. She also pointed to Labor's decision to implement mandatory minimum sentencing in direct contradiction to her own platform and their silence on global human rights issues like Gaza. The Senator also called out Minister for Indigenous Australians Lingiari McCarthy for not going beyond meaningless platitudes and highlighted the worsening conditions for Indigenous people under the current government, including high incarceration rates and the continued forced removal of children. Senator Thorpe supported Marion Scrymgour's calls for Labor to revisit Truth and Treaty and take stronger action on youth justice and native title holders' rights. Thorpe laid out her priorities for the new term, including ending Australia's involvement in international genocide, implementing the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, fully enacting the recommendations from the Royal Commission into Aboriginal deaths in custody, and securing real funded truth and treaty processes. She also advocated for stronger policies on human rights abuses, justice reinvestment, and the reform of discriminatory laws. The Senator closed by stating that this Parliament must be the end of excuses, urging the government to take meaningful action and fulfil its commitments to First Peoples. That's today's Daily News Roundup from the National Indigenous Times. For more news, head to nit.com.au and sign up to our free newsletter today.